Once upon a time, in a small village in Nigeria, there lived a man named Thabo. Thabo was a hardworking farmer who had a beautiful wife named Lerato. They lived in a cozy house with their two children, Zola and Naledi. Thabo loved his family very much and they were happy together. Hey everyone, what's up? I hope you're enjoying our stories. Be sure to leave your comments and suggestions below. Thank you so much. One sunny morning, Lerato decided they needed some help around the house. She hired a young maid named Mbali. Mbali was kind and always had a smile on her face. She quickly became part of the family, helping with chores and taking care of Zola and Naledi. As days turned into weeks, Thabo started to notice Mbali more and more. He admired how hardworking and cheerful she was. One evening, when Lerato was out visiting a friend, Thabo found himself alone with Mbali. They started talking and Thabo realized that he enjoyed Mbali's company. They laughed and shared stories, and before long Thabo began to have feelings for her. At first, Thabo tried to ignore these feelings. He knew it was wrong because he loved Lerato. But every time he saw Mbali, his heart would beat faster. One day, while Lerato was at the market, Thabo and Mbali were alone in the house. Thabo couldn't resist any longer. He told Mbali how he felt about her. Mbali was surprised but also admitted that she liked Thabo too. From that day on, Thabo and Mbali started spending more time together whenever Lerato was not around. They would talk, laugh and sometimes hold hands. Thabo felt guilty, but he couldn't stop himself. One afternoon, while Lerato was busy cooking in the kitchen, Thabo and Mbali sneaked out to the garden. They sat under a big tree and talked for hours. Thabo promised Mbali that he would always be there for her and that they would find a way to be together without hurting Lerato. Mbali was happy, but deep down, she knew it was wrong. The days turned into weeks, and Thabo and Mbali's secret relationship continued. They would steal moments together whenever they could, always careful not to get caught by Lerato or the children. However, the guilt was starting to weigh heavily on Mbali. She knew that what they were doing was wrong, and she didn't want to hurt Lerato, who had been so kind to her. One rainy afternoon, Lerato decided to surprise Thabo at his farm with lunch. She thought it would be a nice way to spend some time together. As she walked towards the field, she saw Thabo and Mbali standing close together under a tree, talking and laughing. Lerato's heart sank. She felt something was wrong, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. When Thabo saw Lerato approaching, he quickly stepped away from Mbali and greeted his wife with a big smile. "Lerato, what a nice surprise," he said, taking the basket of food from her hands. Lerato smiled back, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As the days went by, Lerato started to notice small things. She saw the way Thabo and Mbali would glance at each other, the way they would quickly stop talking whenever she entered the room, and how Thabo seemed more distant. Lerato began to suspect that Thabo and Mbali were hiding something from her. One evening, after the children had gone to bed, Lerato decided to talk to Thabo. "Thabo, is there something you need to tell me?" she asked gently. Thabo looked surprised and shook his head. "No, Lerato, everything is fine. Why do you ask?" Lerato sighed. "I don't know, Thabo. You've been acting differently lately, and I can't help but feel that something is going on between you and Mbali." Thabo's heart pounded in his chest. He knew he had to be careful with his words. "Lerato, you're imagining things. Mbali is just our maid. There's nothing going on between us." But Lerato wasn't convinced. She decided to keep a closer eye on Thabo and Mbali. One night, while everyone was asleep, Lerato heard whispers coming from the kitchen. She quietly got out of bed and tiptoed down the hallway. As she peeked around the corner, she saw Thabo and Mbali talking in hushed tones. Lerato's heart broke as she realized her worst fears were true. Lerato didn't know what to do. Should she confront Thabo and Mbali? Should she leave and take the children with her? Her mind raced with questions and she felt a deep sadness settle over her. Lerato spent the next few days in a state of confusion and heartache. She watched Thabo and Mbali more closely, noticing every little interaction between them. She didn't confront them immediately. Instead, She decided to gather her thoughts and think about what to do. One evening, Lerato invited her best friend, Ntombi, over for tea. Ntombi was wise and always knew what to do in difficult situations. Lerato shared her suspicions with Ntombi, and Ntombi listened carefully. Lerato, I think you need to talk to both of them, Ntombi said gently. You deserve to know the truth, and they need to understand how much this is hurting you. Encouraged by Ntombi's advice, Lerato decided it was time to confront Thabo and Mbali. That night after dinner, she asked both of them to join her in the living room. Thabo and Mbali exchanged worried glances but followed Lerato into the room. Lerato, what's going on? Thabo asked, trying to sound casual. Lerato took a deep breath. I know something is going on between you two, she said, her voice trembling. I've seen the way you look at each other and how you act when you think I'm not watching. I need to know the truth. Thabo and Mbali were stunned. They hadn't realized Lerato had been watching them so closely. Thabo tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. Mbali's eyes filled with tears. Lerato, I'm so sorry, Mbali finally said, her voice breaking. We never meant to hurt you. Thabo took Lerato's hand. Lerato, I love you. I never wanted this to happen. Mbali and we got caught up in something we shouldn't have, but I love you and our family. Please, let's talk about this and find a way to fix it. Lerato's heart ached as she listened to Thabo's words. She didn't know if she could ever trust him again, but she loved him and wanted to believe that they could work things out. She turned to Mbali. Mbali, I trusted you. You were like family to us. How could you do this? Mbali sobbed. I'm so sorry, Lerato. I was wrong and I regret everything. Please forgive me. Lerato sat down, tears streaming down her face. She felt a mixture of anger, sadness, and confusion. She didn't know what the future held for her, Thabo or Mbali. All she knew was that they had to find a way to move forward, even if it meant making difficult decisions. Lerato spent many sleepless nights thinking about what to do. She loved Thabo and wanted to keep the family together, but the betrayal was hard to overcome. She decided to take Ntombi's advice and seek help from the village elder, Mr. Dlamini, who was known for his wisdom and fairness. Mr. Dlamini listened carefully as Lerato explained what had happened. After she finished, he nodded thoughtfully. Lerato, healing takes time. Trust must be rebuilt and forgiveness must be genuine, but first everyone involved needs to be honest and take responsibility for their actions. Lerato agreed and asked Thabo and Mbali to meet with Mr. Dlamini. They all gathered at his home the next day. Thabo, looking remorseful, spoke first. I am truly sorry, Lerato. I let my feelings get the better of me and I betrayed your trust. I am committed to making things right if you give me the chance. Mbali, tears in her eyes, added, I am deeply sorry, Lerato. You welcomed me into your home and I betrayed you. I will leave if that is what you want, but please know that I am truly sorry. Mr. Dlamini nodded. The first step to healing is acknowledging the hurt caused. Thabo, you must prove your commitment to Lerato every day. Mbali, it would be best for you to leave for now to give Lerato and Thabo the space they need to heal. Mbali agreed and decided to return to her own village, promising to stay in touch and support Lerato from afar. Thabo and Lerato began the slow process of rebuilding their trust. They talked openly about their feelings, sought counseling from Mr. Dlamini, and made efforts to spend quality time together as a family. Months passed and slowly but surely, Thabo and Lerato's bond grew stronger. Thabo showed his love and dedication through his actions, and Lerato gradually found it in her heart to forgive him. They never forgot the pain they had gone through, but they learned to use it as a foundation to build a stronger relationship. Moral lesson: this story teaches us that trust is fragile and must be handled with care. When broken, it takes time, effort, and genuine remorse to rebuild. Forgiveness is possible, but it requires honesty, responsibility, and a commitment to change. Betrayal can cause deep wounds, but with love, patience, and understanding, healing is possible. We have come to the end of another beautiful story. Don't forget to like the video. You will make us very happy. You don't want to miss any videos, so subscribe to the channel. See you soon.